Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to plunge into some fascinating topics, maybe unearth a few surprises along the way. Today, we're heading into the sometimes messy world of superhero stories. It's this constant challenge for writers, isn't it? How do you create real drama, real stakes for characters who are like almost gods?
Right. They're incredibly powerful.
And sometimes trying to push those limits, they go too far.
It's a really delicate thing, that balance, especially with comics that have run for decades. You have this creative drive to do something new, something bold.
Yeah.
But then you have the audience. And what feels like drama to the creator can feel, I don't know, manipulative or just wrong to the readers.
That's exactly what we're digging into today. We've got some pretty interesting source material here, specifically clips from something called Top 10 DC Storylines That Crossed the Line. So for you, listening in, this is going to be sometimes uncomfortable, but definitely fascinating look at times. DC Comics arguably pushed things way past the line. Why did these moments hit such a nerve?
Where is that line and why there? That's the interesting part.
Let's jump right in. Kicking off the countdown at number 10. Star City getting destroyed in the Cry for Justice storyline.
Oh, that one, yeah.
This was just huge destruction. I mean, massive devastation. Millions dead.
Millions.
And it got personal, really personal, with the death of Leon Harper, Red Arrow's little daughter.
Yeah.
And it just felt manipulative, like her death specifically was just cruel, unnecessary, just there to send Red Arrow completely off the rails.
We see these huge catastrophic events in comics all the time, right? It raises the stakes. But Cry for Justice really made people ask, when does it become gratuitous?
Exactly.
Especially when it's not about the hero's fight, but about hurting them by, killing off innocents or side characters just for shock value, just to make the hero suffer.
Right. It feels engineered.
Yeah, less like real story, more like emotional torture porn almost.
Okay, so from that kind of huge city-level destruction, let's shift to something more about, like, a character's core. Number 9. Batman burns bad guys, sleeps with Black Canary.
Frank Miller territory. All-star Batman and Robin.
Yep. Miller's known for pushing buttons, but this one, wow, people really point to this. The scene itself is, okay, so Batman, the super brutal version, right? He pours bleach on these thugs.
Bleach.
Yeah, sets them on fire, and then keeps fighting them while they're literally burning.
It's intense.
But then Black Canary sees this happen, and she's just so turned on that they get together right then and there amidst the burning thugs.
Yeah, that scene got a reaction.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Widely called creepy, sadistic, and more than a little gross.
You think?
But it's more than just shock, right? It's about Miller taking Batman and just breaking him.
Yeah.
Pushing him so far past his usual lines, the no-kill rule, the control, that he's almost someone else entirely.
Unrecognizable.
Exactly. And that's where you lose people. When you fundamentally change who the character is at their core, even in a darker story, it challenges everything they expect.
So that's a creator maybe intentionally going too far. What about when it's like well-intentioned but just lands completely wrong? Which brings us to number 8. Lois Lane changes race to get a story. This was back in 1970.
Right. Different era.
And the idea apparently was well-intentioned. Lois uses some kind of comic book machine
Of course.
to temporarily become an African-American woman so she can report on life in Metropolis's black neighborhood.
Yeah, looking back at that one now, through a modern lens, it just comes across as so unintentionally condescending.
How so?
Well, it sets Lois up as this sort of white savior, right? Because she has to become black to understand it, instead of, letting a black journalist tell their own story.
Good point.
And it also kind of makes it seem like it's more about Lois getting her big scoop, her career, than the actual experiences she's supposedly reporting on. It just feels hackneyed, exploitative now.
Yeah, that white savior thing really grates today. It makes you wonder if a story like that could even be attempted now.
Probably not without massive backlash. And rightly so, I think.
Okay, moving from unintentional awkwardness to something deeply uncomfortable. Underage characters. Number 7 is Deathstroke beds a 15-year-old.
The Judas Contract. A classic Teen Titans story in many ways.
Right, the big reveal that Tara, the new Titan, was a spy for Deathstroke. Huge twist.
Brilliant twist. But yeah, the other part. The relationship between Deathstroke, this older mercenary, and Tara.
Who was, the story makes clear, only 15 years old.
Only 15. And what's maybe even more disturbing looking back is how the creators at the time seemed to just roll with it. Like it wasn't that big a deal.
Right.
That's the feeling many get, that casual acceptance or at least lack of interrogation of this huge age gap and power dynamic.
Yeah.
Definitely feels like crossing a line. a big one.
That is deeply uncomfortable. Okay, let's lighten the mood slightly, maybe, to something just plain weird. Number 6. Lois and Lana try to brainwash baby Superman.
Ugh. Silver Age shenanigans.
Mm.
You gotta love the Silver Age sometimes.
1965, this one.
So the premise is Superman gets turned into a toddler somehow.
As happens.
And Lois and Lana are looking after him. But while they're caring for him, they're both trying to basically brainwash him.
Right. So when he grows back to normal, he'll marry them.
It turns out it wasn't even our Superman. It was a super baby from another dimension, but that almost makes it stranger.
It does, but it really highlights that Silver Age problem where Lois and Lana's entire existence just seemed to revolve around landing Superman.
Yeah.
And this attempt to manipulate, to exploit him, even as a baby or a super baby, it's just demeaning. Looking back, it reduces these potentially interesting female characters to just husband hunters.
Yeah.
Willing to do really creepy things.
Totally reflects those outdated gender roles.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of creepy relationships involving age, number 5. Green Lantern dates a teenager.
Hal Jordan and Arizia Rob.
Right. Ariza is this teenage Green Lantern from another planet. She gets a crush on Hal. And Hal, initially, does the right thing. He says, no, you're too young. She was 13.
13. But then she uses her power ring to make herself look like an adult woman.
Because the ring responded to her subconscious wish.
Apparently. And then Hal is suddenly okay with it. He reciprocates her feelings.
Yeah, that's the part that feels really off. It's bad enough when villains do creepy things, but when it's a hero, a Green Lantern,
It's worse.
much worse.
Yeah.
Because changing her appearance didn't change the fact that she was still 13. Her age, her maturity, that was the same. It's just a really troubling narrative choice that sidesteps the actual issue.
It definitely crosses the line. Okay, things get darker now. Number 4. Tarantula rapes Nightwing.
Oof. Yeah, that was controversial.
So Nightwing, like Batman, fundamentally does not kill. It's core to who he is.
Right.
But after this incredibly brutal fight with Blockbuster, he's exhausted, he's broken, and he basically lets Tarantula kill Blockbuster. He can't stop her.
He's overcome with guilt, physically and mentally spent, basically catatonic.
And in that moment, Tarantula, she takes advantage of him, rapes him while he's completely vulnerable.
Yeah, that caused, let's just say, an uproar in the fandom, is putting it mildly.
I bet.
On one hand, it tells you a lot about Tarantula's character, how ruthless and opportunistic she is, but to do that to Nightwing, a character who represents a certain kind of morality,
It's a violation on so many levels.
deeply disturbing. And it raised huge questions about using sexual assault, especially against a male hero in that state, just as a plot device. What does that do to the character long term?
That's a heavy question. And it leads us into number 3, another story involving horrific violence against a beloved character. Sue Dibney's fate in Identity Crisis.
Ah, Identity Crisis.
Yeah.
That whole series was built on pushing boundaries.
Ralph and Sue Dibney, the elongated man and his wife, they were always seen as this fun, lighthearted couple in DC, like the picture of domestic bliss in comics.
Which made what happened so much more shocking.
She's found murdered, brutally murdered. The description mentions her grisly, charred corpse. Just horrific.
But it got worse. The later reveal that before she was murdered, she'd been viciously raped by the second-rate villain, Dr. Light.
Just awful.
And then, the final twist. Her murderer wasn't even Dr. Light. It was Jean Loring, the Atom's ex, and her motive. To manipulate events to get her man back.
Seriously, that was the motive.
Yeah. So you have murder layered with rape, layered with this incredibly petty, convoluted motive. For many, it just felt like piling on trauma for shock's sake. Way, way over the line into just gratuitous awfulness.
Moving to number 2, another incredibly famous and infamous moment. Barbara Gordon's abuse by the Joker in The Killing Joke.
The Killing Joke. It's undeniably a powerful, iconic graphic novel, really digs into the Joker's psychology.
Absolutely. It's considered a classic for a reason.
And yet, the treatment of Barbara Gordon is what makes it so problematic for so many.
Right. The Joker, trying to drive Commissioner Gordon insane, shoots Barbara, his daughter, in the spine, paralyzing her.
And then he strips her naked, takes photos of her in that state to show her father.
It's horrifying.
There's always been that debate, did he do more? But even what's explicitly shown, the sheer senseless brutality of it, it felt, to many readers, like it was simply too much.
An attack on a beloved character just to cause pain for a male character, her father.
Exactly. It raises those same questions about using extreme violence against female characters as a plot point for men's stories. Was it necessary? Did it cross a line? Many felt strongly that it did.
Which brings us to number 1, The moment that literally gave a name to a problematic trope. Green Lantern's girlfriend is fridged.
Alex DeWitt, Kyle Rayner's girlfriend.
Kyle Rayner, the new Green Lantern at the time, comes home, expecting a normal evening.
And he finds Alex murdered, killed by the villain Major Force, and infamously.
Stuffed into his refrigerator.
Yeah, that image, it caused a massive outcry. Huge.
Why that one in particular? I mean, we've talked about some awful things.
I think it was the feeling that Alex seemed disposable, that she was created just so she could be killed, that her entire purpose in the story was to die horribly, to give Kyle, the male hero, angst and motivation.
Treating the woman purely as a plot device for the man's pain.
Precisely. And Gail Simone, a comics writer, famously started compiling a list of similar instances, calling it women in refrigerators. That term, fridged, it stuck. It came to mean any time a female character is killed, injured, depowered, just to motivate a male character or advance his plot.
Wow. So that one moment really defined a whole critical discussion.
It absolutely did. And that discussion spread way beyond comics into movies, TV, all kinds of fiction. It highlighted a real problem in storytelling.
So that's quite the list. We've gone through some really dark, really controversial moments in DC history.
Yeah.
And it really shows how these creative choices, sometimes intentional, sometimes maybe not fully thought through, can provoke such strong reactions. It makes you think about character agency, representation, like you said, and just what's the point of tragedy in these stories? When does it serve the narrative, and when does it just feel cheap or cruel?
Exactly. And these comic book examples, they connect to bigger questions, don't they? About the responsibility creators have, how audience sensitivities change over time,
Definitely.
and how these fictional stories actually impact our culture. Moments like these, even the uncomfortable ones, they make us think critically about what we're reading or watching and why it matters.
They're not just pictures on a page.
Not at all. They reflect things, they shape things.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, thinking about how storytelling keeps evolving, how society changes. How should creators, whether in comics or anywhere else, navigate this line between drama that hits hard and drama that just crosses the line?
Yeah. What risks are worth taking for a powerful story?
And which ones just go too far? Where do you draw the line?